Good day.
Yes, hello. This is Barbara, and then there's Arno from Comex also on the line.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I think we just wanted to go over the experiment you're suggesting.
Yes.
And I haven't been able to reach Diego yet.
Okay.
However, I think we can convey whatever information we now exchange to Diego and then finalize with him too.
Sure.
Because Diego is from Space Apps, and they do all the connections between the suit and mission control basically.
Okay.
And Arno is from the team who also is building the suit, and he's also going to wear the suit.
Can you please explain a little bit about the suit so I can get a better understanding of what we have to deal with?
Yes. What do you want to know? What do you want to know?
Because I've been looking at the suit that the guys at Mars 500 has been wearing.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the same suit?
No, it's not.
It's not the same suit. So I'm just thinking of the placement of the system. That's what I wanted to know.
Excuse me?
I just wanted to know about the design of the suit.
Okay,
yeah.
You have never seen a 3D model of the suit or a picture?
No, I asked Diego for some technical drawings or just pictures, but he said there will be enough time after the decisions have been made if the project is going to go through or not. But I recognize now, and the same that Barbara mentioned, that there's not so much time until the test. Yes.
Have you been looking at our project website? It's called project Moonwalk.
Yes.
Net.
Yes, I've seen.
And so when you go to the galleries,
yes,
you can see the testing.
Mm-hmm.
For example, our Moonwalk making international news or first test dive. So this is, especially when let's go to the headline first test dive Marseille, EVA suit and robot control.
Yes.
And you enlarge this picture. You see the suit.
Okay. That suit I have seen.
Pictures.
I have seen that suit. Yes, it's the same one in the description of the actual project description, right?
Yes.
Yes. I have seen that suit. Okay, then it's okay. Yes, please go on.
That's pretty much all I have to say about the suit. If you have seen a picture.
Yes.
What else do you want to know about it?
No, for me that is enough, because it's only a strategic placement of the camera systems, and I know which suit you're talking about, so
Okay.
I've been thinking about it. Yes, thank you. So what would you like to know?
Yes. So, Barbara, do you have questions? Or
Yeah. I think we should clarify, how big, or maybe just it's how big is it, and how do you think it could be mounted on the suit?
For the Mars project in Rio Tinto, the camera systems will be mounted directly externally on the suit. So we're not going to change anything in the suit. I've been studying a little bit about the suit design and all the problems that are involved if we're going to change anything in the suit. So my design proposal is that these are external cameras that we place outside on the suit, and it's just mounts, just
Like
stick them on. No, we don't screw.
Or
Not screwing, no.
Or what is it? How do you, somehow you have to fix it because that person is gonna walk.
Yes. Already, if you have any experience with GoPros, GoPros come with it's a gluey, sticky material that you can just mount on any helmet, and with some problems you can get it off, but it's not going to be permanent. So it's not going to damage the suit in any way, and it's going to sit pretty strong. We can use different solutions as well if you don't want to use that, but it's going to be all external. We're not going to screw anything into the suit.
Okay.
And the same for the underwater.
How big? How big is it?
It's an action camera. It's a GoPro. We're going to use the testing with GoPros. For underwater, we have Kodak cameras that come with the watertight mount that can also be mounted externally on the suit.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. We're already using some GoPro's fixation device on the suit.
Yes. Perfect. So you already know. The difference between what you are using and what I am using is that I have extreme fisheye lenses from Japan, and I have a contract with those guys, so I'm the actual dealer for them in Northern Europe and Germany included. So these are 280-degree lenses on GoPros. So the GoPros are modified to be able to handle the big fisheye lenses.
And the data, where would how do you envision the data, the images to get? Where should they go to?
The GoPros and action cameras in general already have a large space. I have 64 gigabytes of space on the camera. So each camera will record their own footage, and each camera in themselves separately are 360 cameras because of the big lens. So they can separately work as a complete system, and in addition we can render and stitch all of the cameras together to get a whole big picture.
Okay. And so, but how many different cameras will you be needed on the suit? Underwater, for example?
How many cameras?
Yes.
I haven't, that's why I'm asking about the suit, because I haven't had any access to any suit. I haven't had access to a suit and a pool, so I don't know. I'm guessing from my experience that we will need about 3 cameras on the helmet, and 1 on the backpack, and 1 on the chest. That will give us the best coverage in my view.
Did you say 1 on the backpack?
1 on the backpack, yes. So altogether we will have about 5. But we can scale up, we can scale down. That's a good thing to test and try out.
Okay. But so you will not need to design like specific structures on the suit. It's
no, nothing.
Mounting.
Yeah, just mounting.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I've spent, before I answered to Diego's request for designing a solution for the spacesuit, I spent about 7 months just trying to understand what you guys are doing with spacesuits, what the problems are, and all of the details going into that. And this is probably the only way to do it, to have the way you're using action cameras now, but add this special fisheye lens so that you get much more coverage and you actually see more of the suit, because that you don't do now with the GoPros. Just point forwards and you see forward, that's it. But with a 280-degree lens, you will actually pick up the helmet, you will pick up the suit much better. So that's the way to go. So looking down the line, of course, this is a very great interest for me. Space has always been a great interest for me since I was a kid. I'm going to design a special housing, a super GoPro, if you want to call it that can actually get the most out of these lenses and work with you forward and Norwegian Space Center here through Oslo Tech to design a specific camera just for spacesuits that you can use in the configuration that I have sent you in the proposal. So that is my goal.
What's the weight of all of this?
Each camera with one lens, one camera with one 280-degree lens is 300 grams. So it's not that heavy.
No.
The suit is already very heavy.
Yes, I know.
It just adds up.
It's more than enough. And that's why in the beginning when I looked at the solutions, because my main focus in the 360 and virtual reality area is designing rigs for a first-person view, so you can shoot the person's experience completely. But those rigs are 15 cameras, 23 cameras. Those are big rigs. And then I looked at the suit, and that is huge. So I was thinking, wow, that's going to be a lot of cameras. And then I looked at the problems going with that, and I thought, we just need to look at the camera, one single camera, since you're using GoPros as single cameras, and then see how we can turn that into a 360 camera, and that answer is the lenses.
Okay. But is there a possibility when for Rio Tinto configuration on Earth to live stream the camera, the 360 view?
Yes, it is possible. GoPro already has their own live stream solution. It is very expensive, but it's a very good quality. Right now I have two gentlemen here, one programmer and one drone specialist. They know a lot about live streaming, so we're actually talking about building our own possibly 8K transfer solution, but that's a little bit further down the line. But we will be able to deliver 2K, but there has to be some budget for that, because it's already far over budget on my side of things. We're a startup company, so it's not too much of capital lying around. But we will be able to live stream at least a test. Hopefully, if we have some budget going into this, we will have a look at it until we have the project.
Okay.
So the live stream, how would that function? What do you need for that?
We need a receiver, obviously. We have a software delivered by a stitching software company called Video Stitch. They're French. We also have a non-disclosure agreement in place and a letter of intent with them on cooperation on projects, for example, like this one, so they can assist us. There we can stream 6 different feeds directly into a computer that I have with that software, and we just need to have that stream. So if there is a budget, we can actually just connect. Those are even watertight. The GoPro solutions are also watertight, so we can live stream directly from each camera, 50 frames per second at full HD.
And so would there be an additional, like an antenna or anything on the suit then?
No, that's connected directly on the camera. It's a backpack.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so it's on the camera, and
Yes.
the 300 grams per camera, that's already, that's included?
No, the 300 grams is the camera and the lens, the extreme fisheye lens, and the backpack, I will believe, is just another 100 grams that goes on there.
Okay, there's one backpack going with
Yes.
all of it, they're all in
No, no, one backpack, each camera.
Each camera,
Yes.
okay, good.
Only for live stream, right?
Only for live stream. What we're looking at is an extra package, not using the GoPro solution, so we can connect all of the cameras to one backpack, and it all sends it all in one stream. So, but again, there's some development there. I'm not really sure if we will make it or not, but we're looking at it now.
Okay, so there's one other question I have regarding batteries.
Yes.
How often do you think you'll change? Do you have to change it?
The GoPro batteries last about 30 to 40 minutes. I think for your project, to get an understanding of what this solution is good for, I think those minutes will be sufficient. That's my view. And for us not to go over limit building things, because we don't really have that much time to custom build anything actually. That's the solution. So, but again, I am going to talk to Oslo Tech after our Skype meeting today. If you decide to move forward on this proposal, I will contact them directly and ask for the Norwegian Space Center to be able to fund us with some money to do some custom builds, because I already have the ideas, we just need to make them. But if there's not a possibility for an external budget, then I have to say that we are actually at our limits already with the designs now.
I know what's the maximum length of a simulation underwater?
I think that maximum is about 1 hour, but we will do probably around 13 minutes each dive.
13?
13, yes.
Okay, 1-3.
No, 30 minutes.
3-0.
3-0.
Okay, 30 minutes. Yeah, I think that will cover it. We have enough time. Yeah.
Because we need to, we are writing procedures currently, and for example, the Rio Tinto simulation was always calculated a little bit longer.
Okay.
And so we need to know when things need to be exchanged, because ideally the length of the procedures cover that.
Yes.
And right now they would not. It would be our last telecon. I think we try to set it down to 1 hour, but we'll have to see. Okay, sure. But if this is the information we need.
Yeah, exactly.
Will you need to be on the boat if we're conducting experiments underwater with your cameras mounted on the suit?
It would be nice to have that as an experience, but it is not a requirement.
Okay, you can explain to someone how to...
Very easy. Very easy. As I mentioned, I've been thinking about this for 7 months just to know exactly how we can do this, so that the solution is specifically designed now for spacesuits. I've been thinking about this a long time. And I've been following the development of space and space travel and all that since I was a little kid. So I know a little bit about it. And I see how you're using GoPro action cameras now. So I thought that's something that you guys know and are experienced with at this moment. And that is probably the best way to go for a future solution for space travel and securing surveillance on the spacesuit. So we're looking at single camera solutions that the astronaut can very easily use, mount and dismount at will, and just make it very easy and accessible solution.
So where would these 3 cameras on the helmet, because you were talking about 5 cameras.
Yes.
So what's the minimum amount?
I think the minimum would be 3. You could actually go with 1. You can go with 1. It will still give you a lot of footage with only 1. But with 3 on the helmet, you will cover much more, and you will get much better resolution. And with 5, you will have all the critical areas, the backpack, the chest area where you cover the entire insides of the arms, everything happening in the perimeter of the chest. And then 3 on the helmet, 1 on the top, and 1 on each side. So they cover everything from the top view. So you get the... I was looking at, and I have been in contact with the project called Mars One. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Yes. And they're looking into how the commercial market can budget their trip. So they're using media to find their budget. And how are they doing that? My idea was, if you can be the astronaut and follow the astronaut to space and on missions and to Mars, that's going to be a very, very big thing when this thing starts happening in about 10 years. And people have virtual reality glasses and applications now already. So in 10 years, those will be very accessible. And I think being able to see what the astronaut sees is very important. So that's what we're looking at now.
Okay, I'm gonna add Diego. He just sent me a message.
Okay.
Just a second. Diego, hi. Hello? Hello? Yeah, hi, this is Barbara. And we have Arnaud on the line and Ali.
Hello.
From ADAPA.
Okay.
Hello, Diego.
And we are just discussing actually the number of cameras and where to place them, and and how much they weigh, and when batteries need to be exchanged, and so on. Shall I give you a quick run through, or do you have specific questions?
Yeah, maybe I was just wondering about the location of the cameras. If you were still thinking of placing them on the chest of the suit and on the back of the suit, or whether you had found a position where it would be best to put them in a centralized manner.
In the proposal, what I've designed there, that is actually what the optimal placements will be in my view, but as I mentioned earlier, I haven't been near a suit ever. So being able to see the suit and then actually trying to place the cameras and shooting some footage on a suit before we set off, that would be very ideal. And I can actually manage to come down on own expense to do that test. That's not a problem, and it would be a great pleasure. But from experience, I know that those placements will actually give us a good solution.
Okay, just because maybe they have already mentioned this to you, but for example, on the chest, we have this chest display. Sometimes we could have it, sometimes we wouldn't have it, but
yeah,
there has to be this room for this chest display.
Yes.
And on the back, we have a tube that contains a computer.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be, I guess, well, Arno can tell you more, but I guess it would be more optimal to find a position that doesn't interfere with these other devices.
The chest camera and the backpack camera are not critical. The critical cameras are the ones that are on the helmet, and that's one on top and one on each side. As I mentioned earlier before you came on, we can also go with just one single camera on top of the helmet and tilt it a little bit, because it's a 280-degree lens.
Okay.
On the test that we're going to do in Rio Tinto, that's the lens we can use there. So that's already going to give you a lot of coverage. But we can add more cameras so that we can stitch them together to get much higher resolution and see much more of the suit and the surroundings that the suit is placed in.
That's great. One of the things that I was thinking of doing, and the things that would be to us most valuable about your system, is that at the end of each day, possibly, I don't know if at the end of each EVA, but more likely at the end of each day, we could record these things, the whole run, each EVA,
yes,
and send it to mission control,
yes,
in a way that they could replay the EVA with this 360-degree view.
Exactly.
Is it something that is feasible for you?
Yes, we're already doing it. I've been doing this since I started designing camera systems for 360. And again, earlier I mentioned that my proposals in the 360 camera development is to record the person's experience completely, so that you can share the experience from their perspective. And we are now looking at the solutions, how they can be used in rehabilitation, exposure therapy. You have education, of course, so that when you can be the astronaut, you can actually experience how it is to be an astronaut. Go step by step through all the procedures, everything from A to Z, you got it all covered. And then wearing a virtual reality goggle, you are immersed, you're inside the person's experience.
Yeah, in terms of bandwidth, so in practical terms, at the end of the day, is there a way for you to relatively quickly process this video to down convert it?
Yes.
And be able to upload it in any way?
Yeah.
Like to make it smaller?
If we have, what's it called? The coding that we use is H.264. So that's a regular video coding. And we can actually make the files even smaller using H.265. Myself, I haven't started using that because that's more expert area, but I have a lot of experts on this field, so I can just bring in anyone I'd like to include to do some coding for us. So it's not a big thing. You can use Adobe Premiere. It's a standard program. You can use the coding there. And
Okay.
as I understood, if we're using 30-minute rounds for 30 minutes, those files won't exceed 1.5 gigabytes
1.5 gigabytes
per 30
file
minutes.
Of how?
Yeah.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
1.5. But you know, it's because it doesn't sound like a lot.
No, it's not a
You know,
lot.
in general terms.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it's very likely that unless you have your own system, you're gonna use our
Yes.
satellite system, for example, for Rio Tinto,
Mhm.
and the cell phone. Maybe the cell phone system. Maybe you could do it onshore
Okay.
with a normal ADSL connection. In that case, it wouldn't be a problem. But in Rio Tinto, you will likely use the satellite link, which has a limited bandwidth. And it's very expensive, so we don't buy a lot of them. In fact, it's INTA looking into that. But maybe it would be. Do you think that they are still usable if you reduce them further?
We can do with the H.265 coding. As I mentioned, that will make the file size 1/10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, that sounds great. Even
Yeah.
they don't even need to be 1/10, but we just need to see what capability you have to make
Yeah.
them small.
We're really
Send them.
pushing. We're really pushing the limits of what is available on the market today. I'm spearheading a lot of development in this front, and hopefully you can attend VR Oslo. There I'm inviting the heads of the market today, from the lens production side to the event holders called IVRPA, International Virtual Reality Photographers Association. The vice president there is coming. He has the whole network in VR and 360, so he's coming to attend, and he'll be my guest for about 5 days here. And your project will obviously be mentioned, but the limitations are the ones that I'm explaining now. We can do a lot, but we need a budget. That's not something I can afford. What I'm affording is what I'm offering at this moment.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just I wanted to have an idea of whether, with the current budget that you have, or whatever you have proposed,
Yes.
it can be foreseen that this video is compressed,
Yes.
and we can send it to Mission Control.
Sure.
Is that still possible? Okay.
Yes, we can.
And you would be on site during the trials. Is that also a possibility for you?
Yes, of course. That would be a great pleasure. I would be looking forward to that every second of the way, to be honest.
All right.
Yes. So if you would like for me to be there, I would gladly say thank you and come. But it is not a necessity. You can also do the placement of the cameras yourselves. The solution is designed that way. It would be very ideal for me to come down and do an underwater shoot and do just a shoot in the studio or wherever you have the spacesuit on land, so that we can shoot for 30 minutes and then you can have the files and then you can see exactly what we have to deal with.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess that would have to be discussed with Arnaud and COMEX, etc.
Yes.
Yes, I think that the underwater, I mean, Rio Tinto is easy
Yes.
accessible.
Yeah.
So I think this is not a problem. Underwater, I don't know, as I understand, is difficult because there's only also very limited space on the ship, and then
Yes.
you know, everything requires professional diving licenses.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I have other question for underwater configuration.
Yes.
You know that underwater we will not be working in a very extended area. It will be likely like a 20-meter diameter
Yes.
circle or something like that.
Yes.
So do you think that a standalone possibility can be made by you?
Yes. We have standalone solutions, and I've got several designs on that. The main one is just 2 cameras back to back, so we can place those wherever you'd like. We also have a possibility to put it on an underwater drone. If you have one yourself, we can use that. If not, I'm in contact with the University College in Sweden, that they're developing a drone for underwater that we can have access to. So yes, I've thought about all of those.
Okay, but will you be having the budget for this standalone solution?
Yes.
And the ability to...
Yes.
Okay.
That one we can.
You said that you were using some modified lens.
Yes, these are...
Will you be able to use some filters?
I'm not sure about what kind of filters we were talking about, but the Kodak cameras that we will be using for the underwater solution, they come with custom designed holders so that the camera goes into the watertight holder. I'm not really sure what kind of filters you can add to that. Probably on the outside would be possible, but on the inside I'm not sure.
Are you thinking or not about a red filter? Is that what?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because we will be probably working at a 10 to 12 meters depth.
Mm-hmm.
So colors may be a little bit, too much on the blue, but it's not a problem. I don't know.
Okay.
Right.
Again, that would be it would be perfect to come down and do a test so that we know exactly what we have of limitations, because you weren't here for this, Diego. When you sent the proposal to me and asked for me to design a solution for a spacesuit, I spent about 7 months looking into all the technologies available today for do such a test, and then I recognized that you guys use GoPros now and how favorable they are actually to be used in space. So I'm looking into designing a specific camera house. You can call it a supercharged GoPro with the extreme fisheye lenses. So that's in development. That's in the plans for development. But at this moment, the limitations are what we have in the GoPro, and those are some, and the limitations that we have in the Kodak camera. And these have to be tested before we know anything about the concrete limitations, because this hasn't been done before.
Just to clarify a point, what you said earlier, are you asking for a test before the simulation sessions?
Yes.
In Rio Tinto and Marseille?
Yes, please. That would be very informative for you, because then I would be able to give you footage, both raw footage and compressed footage, so that you can, not raw footage, sorry, separate footage, separate from each camera, and then combined footage, stitched together, so that you know all the file sizes. You can start testing, transmitting them, and sending them to the right people that know how to work with these files, literally. So that would be nice to have that.
And when will you be ready to come for those kind of tests?
Anytime. I'm prioritizing this project above anything. As I mentioned, I've been looking for a real concrete goal for my project, and space, as I mentioned, has always been a dream that I've sought after. I've been in contact with the Mars One project to try to see if I can place my project in there, and they've been very interested. And there's another company that I don't remember, not Elon Musk, but the other company that recently landed a rocket back on its feet.
Blue Origin?
Yes, Blue Origin, thank you. I've been in contact with them, but then suddenly out of the blue, Diego contacted me, and that was just perfect, because yeah, it seems as though we have a good test here.
In terms of technical solution, you actually have right now the cameras and the...
Yes.
All you need to mount something in the suit?
Yeah, not in the suit. This is also something I told Diego after I considered the designs. I know that we will not be needing to do any changes in the suit, and it is only external placements of the cameras. Yes, yes, just on the suit, yes. And when it's on the suit, we will also have access to batteries, to cards and everything, so it will be very easy to handle.
So, but 1 day or so test on sea is impossible, I have to say.
No, if we can do it in the pool.
Yes, so this is what could be, maybe we could talk about that, but nothing sure. It's pretty hard to to say right now, but I just know what you said, and
yes.
Yeah, okay.
For the importance of the project that you have proposed and the solution that I have proposed, this is really groundbreaking thoughts and solutions. So for us to have access to a pool with a suit for 30 minutes or even just 15 minutes or even just 5 minutes is going to be very, very decisive, so that we know exactly what the cameras are doing, and then we can get some footage out.
Great. Ali, I have one question. So at some point you have mentioned that, and we didn't go into it very deeply because I would like also to keep it as simple as possible.
Yes.
But you mentioned the possibility of having these cameras streaming.
Yes.
What would that require, and what is the current status of that, and how do you think that would work?
All of these questions I have addressed as well in the proposal. We do need a budget. This is not cheap at all, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We have found solutions delivered by GoPro themselves. Not to be ugly about it, but they're not so very cooperative with people like me, because I don't have a big company and a lot of budget to go with. So I have been talking to their London office that actually decides what projects to go for with the live streaming. I know that there is a company here in west of Norway that they are working with, that we might be able to rent their backpacks that live stream. So there is an existing backpack that you can put directly on the GoPro, and you can have them watertight as well. They stream 50 frames per second at full HD. They are very expensive. We're talking about $15,000 a piece.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
But underwater, how do they transmit the signal to the surface?
I'm not sure, but they've solved it because they're using it for extreme sports.
They probably use with a cable, maybe.
Yes, they have one with a cable and they have one just with an antenna.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would be what you would have in mind for the eventually streaming using this device. Right?
This is the one that is on the shelf that we can pick up, of course, with a price, very expensive price. But as I mentioned earlier to Barbara and Arnaud, I have two gentlemen here. One of them is a programming genius. I could say that quite easily. And the other one is very into drones. They just won access to a world championship in Dubai for drone flying. They know a lot about electronics and streaming. So we're looking at the possibility of streaming 2K now at a much cheaper price, but still would need some budget. But we're also looking at the possibility of streaming 8K just to get that, just to look at it, see what we can do with 8K, because we have the capacities for it now. So,
okay, so maybe I tell you why I asked you that, because the thing is that we already have a camera in place that streams to the ground, which is basically based on a cell phone.
Okay.
we
Bundling, right?
Sorry?
You are bundling. Yes,
yeah,
cards.
So
yes.
we're using this off-the-shelf application that you can run on the cell phone to stream video to the ground.
Yes.
This is what we're doing. Of course, if there was something that did the same but with 360 degrees,
yes,
that was already available, that didn't need a lot of development, we would use it. But I probably understand that this might need some more work.
Yes.
But in any case, if you decide that you are going on your own to do this for whatever reason, maybe you can just drop me a line and tell me if you're pursuing that.
Oh, we're definitely pursuing that now. As I mentioned, this project, your proposal for me to design something for a spacesuit really put a royal push in my project in that direction. And designing that single camera with the extreme fisheye lens, that is the flagship of my project now, because I want to designed this solution so that it really goes into space and joins this Mars race. And live streaming is a big part of that now already.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we are looking at it.
Just so you know, we're not looking for, extreme resolutions, 4K, etc. for streaming.
Okay.
We're really looking into relatively low resolutions because this needs to be transmitted over over a very small communications link.
Yes.
But just for you to keep that in mind if you eventually decide on it.
No, as I mentioned, we're looking at it now. They're actually waiting for me to, get finished with this Skype talk. No haste anyway, but they're here until a couple of hours more. So we're going to talk about this. It's a very serious case of the live streaming. The commercial market wants it. The people that are using it in media and TV stations, they want this. And VR and 360 is a big thing in the market now. So obviously we're looking at it, and definitely for use on spacesuits. But again, if there is any way for us to get a budget, we're going to try that here in Norway through Oslo Tech and the Norwegian Space Center. Hopefully there will be some budget, but if there is anything available through your contacts, we will be very happy to have some minimum budget just to make these things happen. Because God knows, I've really stretched my limits to the max and some. So yeah, we have the solutions available, but they cost money, and then we can develop some, but that also costs money. So that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know, do we have any other questions? Because I think that the solution, like the minimum solution is doable, as I understand, just to recap.
Good.
With the 3 cameras on the helmet, is this correct?
Yes, with the 3 cameras on the helmet, you will get the perspective of the astronaut, what he sees and more.
And Ali, so do you confirm that you have the budget for a 5 cameras solution?
Yes.
For tests on Rio Tinto on underwater?
Yes.
Including a standalone solution?
Including a standalone solution, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. My pleasure.
Okay, so but Diego mentioned that we have probably already a little computer, or we have a little computer on the backpack, and we have the chest display. So we'll have to see if we can integrate the 2 other cameras. Is this correct?
Yes. For the backpack camera and the chest camera, we can place those. For the chest camera, that can be placed right under the chin of the astronaut. On his helmet, so that would give the same effect. And on the backpack, it can be moved up or down, but up would be preferable so that it's in the same line of sight as the cameras on the helmet itself.
Okay, and we could have a compressed video each day sent to mission control in the evening.
Yes. To be honest, this is a historic moment for me, and I am quite sure it is a historic moment for you too, since we're talking about a revolutionary solution for the spacesuit. I've been filming with a standalone camera system now for 43 minutes with the 280-degree lenses in my home office. So I can actually stitch these later on, and I will send you a locked link on YouTube so that you can have a look. And we're actually going into 44 minutes now on full batteries.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
And I'm shooting at...
One question also on the side of this processing after the day to send to mission control.
Yes.
How long do you estimate in minutes would take to process this video and send it out?
There are 2 main differences. When you have moving camera solutions, you will need to stabilize the footage. It is not a necessity, but it is definitely a positive side, so that the image is still, and then you always have a flat horizon. For the standalone solution, the camera is standing still. That is a very quick process. You just render. But for the moving cameras, you will need to do some configurations in the post-production, and that is leveling the horizon, I recognize, of course, that the spacesuit is not moving so much, so it won't be as much work as it is when you're using, for example, snowboarding or something like that. But there will be some more work, but not much.
How long do you think it takes to process it, also considering there is not a lot of movement, like, you know, half an hour, 1 hour?
We will see with this footage that I'm shooting now, because this is actually the first time I've shot 45 minutes. We've passed that now, and it's still going, so that's just one battery going. And I'm shooting at 4K on each camera now, so both cameras are actually punching maximum at 30 frames per second, yes. So I will render this, and then I will see how long it will take. I'm guessing maybe a couple of hours, maybe 2.
Okay, and if you record it in lower, maybe not 4K resolution,
it would be much less.
Take less.
Yes, much less.
Okay, because maybe, I mean, it's nice to have some 4K video, maybe for outreach purposes, like to upload it and show up.
Yes.
But maybe this can be done once, but then in an operational setting, we could do with less resolution. Also because we're gonna need to compress it anyway to send to mission control.
Exactly. And that's what we come back to when it comes to the project that I want to do with the specifically designed camera systems, is that you have 2 storages. One storage records raw information, so you can get actually maximum resolution on one, and then you can render one for streaming that is low resolution. So, but that is also something that has to be developed.
I think I have more questions on my side.
Well, me neither, no. Okay. So I think the experiment is good to go. Everybody agrees with me from the Moonwalk team. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we'll have to see what kind of scale. I mean, if you have 3 cameras, 5 cameras or so, but the minimum would be 3 cameras and the compressed data to mission control in the evening. And
you can actually also say that the minimum is 1 camera. I can assure you that, so that we can stream 1 camera. We can try that. That is something that we can probably manage until this thing happens, this project goes off the shelf, and the 2 extra cameras can be what is assisting cameras. In case 1 camera goes off, then you still have 2 cameras capturing it all.
Okay.
So the minimum is 1 camera. It will give you more than enough coverage, but we will have the option of adding 2 extra cameras when things are more viable. And in post-production, of course, yeah.
I just thought of something else that I forgot, sorry. What was the best software to reproduce the videos that you have? Like, is that gonna be done through YouTube, or there's another software that can be used?
I use both Facebook and YouTube, but we can use anything else actually, because there's a lot of other companies that do this now, so they have platforms. We can also have your own solution, but that of course costs money, so that's something that I can't afford at this moment. We're talking about something like 6,000 euros, but then that will be your own platform, so own app, own website, own everything. So
yeah, that might be a little bit too much.
Too much at this moment.
I mean, it's just in terms of mission control, so that we know what software we need to install, or this is gonna be done just through YouTube.
We could do it through YouTube.
This will work.
I think if you are okay with it, we can do it through YouTube. It's becoming quite fast, and you can have all the videos unlisted so that they are safe.
So we need that. We just need a cell phone just to
to look at them. Yes.
Okay. Is there a way to do it through a computer, connecting something to like an Oculus Rift maybe to the computer? Is there
that is possible. Yes.
Is there a software that is off the shelf that allows to do this?
Yes, that's the same company that with the Oculus Rift you can go on 2 different online websites now. one of them is called Viridio, VREDO, and they give you a split screen. You can connect the Oculus Rift or whatever headset you have directly to the computer, and then you can experience it there.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Probably we would use that. If you could send me those links, so I because we're starting to set up the mission control center, and we need to know what goes into each computer, so
Okay.
that we are already thinking of that. So
Sure. There is also YouTube already has that function. I sent you guys some VR glasses. I don't know if it's reached everyone.
Yeah. No, well, we have them here at SpaceX. I showed them to the team, but not to all the Moonwalk team.
No.
There it is. Similar to the Google Cardboard.
Yes,
glasses.
but smaller. Yes. When the people that have Android telephones, they have VR function with those glasses. So YouTube for Android users already has that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. We use it through YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
The cameras.
Thanks.
The cameras are now 51 minutes and they're still going.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Ali, can you send me an email with description of the tests you would like to perform before our simulation sessions?
Definitely. Yes.
How long would it take? What would you need especially in terms of time to install the cameras and then to perform the test and to process the data?
Sure, I will do right away after we've talked. I have a separate meeting. I'll finish that, and then I will send you some information right away.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Then what do you need from our side, Ali, now?
Thank you very much for asking. It would be very nice to get something in writing of you accepting my proposal and that we're going ahead with this test, so that I can use that as a document to try to get some funding to hopefully push the development until we meet, so that we can try to fit in some live streaming capabilities as well. That will be very nice.
Okay. So if it's an email with your proposal attached and it goes to like the management team in Moonwalk and to you, that will be
That is
sufficient?
more than enough. Yes, thank you very much. Because I will just print that out, or even nicer if you would make that in writing and sign it and then just scan it and send it to me as a PDF. I will just print that out and that will be it. Yes.
Okay. Well,
Something that I can show around.
I'm gonna initiate that email so you have the email quickly, and then
Sure.
I'll ask the coordinator. I cannot sign anything, but
Sure.
the coordinator probably can.
Thank you very much. Very kind of you. Well,
Okay.
congratulations then to all of us, actually. We have a project.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for your
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Arno.
Yes, thank you.
And we'll hear from each other.
Yes, we'll keep in touch. Have a great week.
Okay, you too.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye.
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 Bye. Arno, can you stay on?
Yeah. You're right.